Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to today's live reading of Spook Squad by Allan Evans, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Join me. Chapter 1, A Call for Help. Abbey. The voice was barely above a whisper, but two things were immediately apparent. I knew the voice, and she was terrified. Absolutely terrified. Are you there? Stasia's voice had a pleading quality, but I couldn't reply. I'd answered the call without thinking when my phone vibrated in my back pocket. Using your phone in class is strongly discouraged at Pine Ridge High School. By discouraged, I mean the teachers collect the offender's phone and turns it over to the principal's office. It's not a place that I want to visit again. Turning in my seat to hide the phone in my ear, I heard my name again. Abby. Fear does something to a person's voice, constricting it, raising the pitch, and causing it to tremble. Stasia was frightened beyond anything I'd ever heard from her, and given our history, that said a lot. Stasia, I whispered, I'm in class. What's wrong? Bending down, I pretended to dig in my backpack to hide my rule-breaking phone usage. Our teacher, Miss Sparrow, stood at the front of the class at the smartboard, lecturing about our country's entry into the Vietnam War. However, most of the class watched me, wondering why I was doing something so stupid. Half of them had endured the confiscation rule. Stasia continued. Stasia calling during the first hour of the school day meant that she should have been in class too. She's at the high school in Stillwater, a much larger school in the next town. Her words tumbled out faster than her usual lazy cadence. Something is here with me. Something, not someone. What's going on? I asked as a feeling of dread washed over me. Here I go again. The 80s hit from Whitesnake flashed through my head. Thanks to my mother's influence, I'm an 80s girl through and through. For good or bad, it's the soundtrack of my life. I'm trapped in the bathroom at the school. The lights are flickering like crazy, and purple slime is running down the walls. The tremble in her voice had increased. There's something outside the stall door. It's just waiting. Now I know why Stasia called me. Ever since I was a little girl, I could see things others couldn't. Spirits, ghosts, and dead people. Call them what you will, but for some reason, I'm sort of a spook magnet. Ghosts have always been attracted to me, but it's not always as glamorous as it sounds. The dead can be annoyingly persistent. My friends know about my abilities, and when weird things happen, there's no question who they're going to call. They're calling me. Abby, you have to come help me, please. Her voice cracked with emotion, and my heart broke. There was no way I wouldn't help her, which meant I had to get out of class right now. I stood, grabbed my backpack, and walked up to Miss Sparrow as she wrote containment on the board. Now, class, preventing the spread of communism. She noticed me and stopped. What is it, dear? I leaned in and whispered, I'm having issues. Miss Sparrow looked at me briefly and blinked, but she got it. Oh, right, it's Shark Week. Go ahead. You're excused. Hurry now, she said as she ushered me toward the door. Thank God I have a woman teacher, I thought as I sped down the hall. Right around the corner, I texted 911 to Lexi and Kelly, and since I don't drive yet, I added, need a ride, performing arts exit. I got back on the call and walked as fast as possible. Stasia, I'm coming, but where are you? Which bathroom? With a school as big as Stillwater, she would have to narrow down the geography. In the bathroom behind the gym. All right, just hang tight. Be there as soon as I can. Call you when I get there. I ended the call and picked up my pace, speed walking to our school's performing arts ring. Lexi and Kelly replied to my 911 text with, on the way, in 1 minute. I love these girls. Without question or concern for consequences, they're willing to skip out of school to help. I'd be lost without my friends, but for much of my life, I hadn't really had any. The ones I had disappeared quicker than a Twinkie at a Weight Watchers meeting when they discovered what I could do. Losing friends over my so-called gift has hurt a lot over the years. But I get that it can be more than a little creepy to know your friends, these dead people. When I rounded the corner, there they were. What's up? Kelly asked, her concern front and center. Stasia's in trouble at Stillwater. Glancing at both, there was no hesitation, just determination. I've told them about my summer at camp with Stasia. They know about the near-death experience we shared. I'm guessing it's a spooky girl kind of trouble then, Lexi said, not really asking a question. I nodded. Okay then, I'm driving, she said as we rushed into the cold parking lot. The wind swirled in the Minnesota snow, and the chill got underneath my jacket before we could get to Lexi's Ford Escape. The weather had recently turned cold, but Stasia's problem outweighed the weather. Lexi threw the car into gear and headed straight for the exit. Not bothering to delay for the stop sign, she accelerated onto County 12. The Escape fishtailed as she fought to gain control, turning into the skid. It worked, and we were soon flying down the road at 70 miles per hour. Let the fun begin. In the 10 minutes it took Lexi to get us there, I filled them in on the few details I knew. What if the trouble isn't supernatural? Kelly asked as we raced into the Stillwater parking lot. Shouldn't we call the police just in case? We were out of the car the second Lexi slammed it into park. Sirens were in the air, a lot of them. Sounds like somebody already called them. Kelly grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the school. Run, she shouted. The school will be going into lockdown. We've got to get inside while we still can. Fueled by adrenaline, we sprinted toward the entrance to the school gym. The sirens came from all the directions. Multiple squad cars screamed into the lot as students rushed out of the school. We grabbed a door before it latched shut, and once inside, I called Stasia to let her know we had arrived. I hear sirens, she said in lieu of a greeting. Yeah, squad cars are coming into the school parking lot. Really? How many? Looking back, a lot of police cars were headed in our direction. I think it's all of them. The more the better, she said, her voice trembling. We're coming. Going to hang up. See you soon, I said, tucking away my phone as I needed my hands. Not sure what that meant, but the situation was not even remotely normal. We raced down the hallway and took the corner. Partway down the hall, a dense, swirling mist hung in the air, most unusual for a higher education establishment. That's different, Lexi said, summing up my thoughts. Sure is, Kelly agreed. They shared a quick look before gesturing for me to take the lead. After you. Someone once said bravery can only take you so far, and then determination leads the way. I might have been scared, but I knew my determination to save Stasia would lead me where I needed to go. I counted on it. Moving cautiously, we entered the mist partway down the hallway. It felt like we'd been transported to a jungle. A strong, musty odor motivated me to breathe through my mouth. Our feet sloshed on the wet floors. Hey, came a muffled shout from behind us. A quartet of firefighters called up to us. You guys shouldn't be here. I spoke for our group. Our friend is trapped in the bathroom, and we've come to get her. The firefighter shook his head like he'd heard it before. No, we've got this. It's not safe for you to be here, he said. Leave it to the professionals. And just to make his point, he gestured for us to go back. They pushed past us, not waiting for a response. Where are you going? Kelly asked when I started to follow. You heard the man. We're not equipped for this. They are the professionals. I shook my head. There's no way the firefighters are equipped for what's in the bathroom with Stasia. We need to keep moving. My friend shrugged and we continued our journey as we moved deeper into the mist. It had become densely thick and seemed alive in the way it swirled and danced. Strange things for a Tuesday morning. We were about to turn the corner and the firefighters were there, sprinting in our direction this time. They moved so fast, one slid into the far wall with a loud grunt as he rounded the corner. Another lost his footing on the wet floor and completely wiped out. None of the firefighters slowed down, let alone glanced back at their fallen comrade. As the last firefighter got up and raced past us, I glanced at Kelly. There go your professionals. They look terrified, Lexi said. I rested a hand on each of my friends. It's up to us now. I forgot to feed my fish, Lexi said this matter-of-factly with an unreadable expression. I was confused. Lexi? I forgot to feed my fish and they like to eat. Holding her gaze, I nodded. We all do, sweetie. But I'm the only one that feeds them. I nodded again. So make sure we get out of here so they get fed. Her seriousness was adorable. I promise. You'll make it out of here safely. Lexi nodded. Okay then, let's go save Stasia. The men's and women's bathrooms were in front of us, a smelly swamp outside their entrances. The women's had dark purple slime running down the length of the door. It leaked out of a crack above the door. That can't be good, I said as I opened the door. The smell hit without warning. Seriously, the rank odor was worse than a garbage truck stewing in 100-degree heat. Stepping carefully into the bathroom, I avoided a glob of slime as it ever so slowly elongated down from the ceiling. Clearly, this bathroom was skipped on the custodian's morning rounds. The lights flickered, winking on and off with a buzzing sound as we peered around the corner. A dark figure swayed in front of the closed stall door. It looked vaguely human, but with everything going on around it, I'd ventured that it wasn't currently human. Maybe at one time, but not anymore. Moving away from the protection of the wall, I stepped out into the bathroom. Stasia, we're here. Her response was instantaneous. Oh my goodness, thank you. She hesitated briefly and then asked, "It's still out there, isn't it?" "Yes, it's here," I told her as I moved past the thing, careful not to get too close. You never know when you'll get this, when you'll, what you'll get when the spirit world tangles with ours. Stay put until I tell you to move. Okay, Stasia said. Her voice had a WTF tone to it. But what's out there? I wasn't sure what to call it. Once a man, the thing's face now looked like a lurid shade of green that looked like it had been melted off in a vat of toxic chemicals. I don't know what it is, but he's an ugly cuss. Its one intact eye fixed on me as it leaned closer and opened its mouth. What came out was a bellowing roar. The sound was near deafening, but I held my ground. "Leave us alone. You're not wanted here," I said as forcefully as possible. But it wasn't especially moved by my show of toughness. Clearly, I wasn't going to push it away with my words. This encounter needed to move into the physical realm to get Stasia out. In the past, I've made contact by focusing my mental energy out on my hand, but the thought of touching the slimy thing had me disgusted. Help arrived in the form of Kelly and the custodian's mop. Tossing me the mop, she shouted, "Go get it." With a firm grip, I swung the mop for the cheap seats. The handle connected with the gruesome spirit, and it took a faltering step backward. Wanting to push my advantage, I stuck the business end of the mop into the thing's midsection and shoved it with everything I had. It was enough that it moved the thing away from Stasia's stall. "Now, Stasia," I commanded. She didn't hesitate and flew out of the stall as Lexi and Kelly grabbed her. All three hit the door and were out of the bathroom in a flash. I gave it another shove with the mop, but it decided to fight back and grabbed onto the handle. But it didn't matter. I was done with that mop and let it go. What I hadn't expected was what happened next. Dropping the mop, the thing lunged for me. It locked onto my wrist with a bone-chilling grip. My wrist tingled where it gripped me. There was no way I would break free from the vice-like hold unless it willingly let go. As I struggled to break free, it pulled me closer and closer. We locked eyes, and I saw what had to be a glimmer of humanness buried deep within its green eyes. "Let me go," I said, "and I can help you move to somewhere better." It didn't respond, so I took that as my opening to continue. When I was a child, I was afraid of the dark. But as I've gotten older, I've seen people who are afraid of the light, which is far worse. The light is healing, purpose, and freedom, and it can mean that you're finally home. Death feels like a dark tunnel with no light at the end, but there is always a light. The thing stared at me. My arm ached as the cold spread from where it gripped me. "The light is there if you look for it," I said. "Look for it now." The spirit's eyes lost their focus. "Do you see it?" It felt like I was finally getting through to the thing as the grip ever so slightly loosened. "Go to the light. You can pass go and collect your $200, but you need to go." The grip released as the green man in front of me faded. The last thing I saw was something I hadn't expected. A smile. Lexi, Kelly, and Stasia waited around the corner, wrapping me up immediately. Stasia's frame may be small, but her grip was immense. After all, she graduated from the same boot camp as me. Given the camp's intense physical training, we toughened up and found new strength, and it gave me the confidence to persevere through any obstacle I encountered. "I knew you'd come for me," she said. I pushed her hair away from her eyes. "That's what friends do. We help each other." "Let's get out of here," Kelly said. "Maybe the thing has friends too." "Good point," I said in agreement. One of the few positives of a paranormal encounter is the effects often don't linger. The mist was already dissipating and the floors were no longer wet. We hurried back down the empty halls and stepped back out into the fresh wintry weather. However, it was anything but calm outside. Dozens of Washington County squads and an equal amount of Stillwater black and white police cars had arrived, and several dozen guns were pointed in our direction. Whoa. I was never too eloquent when guns were pointed at me. I don't like guns. But we did what you were supposed to do when the police aimed their weapons at you. We raised our hands. Hey, don't shoot. We're the good guys, I called out. Out of nowhere, officers rushed in, grabbed us, and rushed us away from the building. We were swept into the mass of emergency vehicles and ended up in the back of a paramedic truck. Medical personnel surrounded us. Hold on, I said, holding up my hands. We're fine. I noticed it at the same time the others did, and judging by their reaction as they backed away, the medical staff didn't know what to make of me, the girl with the glowing hands.